How's it going, everyone? In today's video, first of all, I've got the wife beater on because it's 23 degrees outside and I barely feel justified to actually wear any clothes, but this is as little as I can actually handle, so we're going with the wife beater. And we're going to be going over something that I made a somewhat passing comment about in last week's video. If you're an R.P.E dork, this will look like something like an R.P.E 6 or 7. And that's R.P.E, and in the last few years since I've been posting online, I feel like I've ended up going on a little bit of a vendetta about R.P.E, and I don't necessarily disagree with using it, but it's more when it's used and who's using it that I disagree with. So if you don't know, R.P.E stands for the rate of perceived exertion, and it's basically a tool to measure how hard you're training. So if you're working at an R.P.E 1, that's like really easy, probably an empty bar. And if you're working at an R.P.E 10, that's like you at failure, like you could not do it anymore. So if you ever see somebody doing a lift and they say, I've done 6 at 130 kilo squats for an R.P.E 7, that's what that basically means, that it was a 7 out of 10 hardness for them. So I'll start off by saying, if you do use R.P.E, you are a dork. Now, I'm not saying that in like a derogatory way, it's just the reality of it. If you're going into the gym and using R.P.E, you are a dork, you are a geek, and that's totally okay, that's fine. And it's just one of these things, I'm not making the rules, it just is what it is. Now, I have used R.P.E before, and again, it's not like a bad thing, it's not wrong, but my first kind of main problem with it is, it's people who are using it just shouldn't be using it. So I'm seeing people who are like a year or two into training and like barely scratch the surface of their actual full like training journey, and they're talking about R.P.E and trying to work out, I need to do this at an R.P.E 6 and this at an R.P.E 8, and just when you are just getting started in your journey, none of that matters, and you just need to just go in and just lift the fucking bar. And this is going to be a common thread here when I talk about R.P.E and about just not overcomplicating things. And the reason that these beginning lifters have cultivated going and using R.P.E is because they're seeing a lot of people online, like your kind of professional level power lifters, who using R.P.E for them does have a lot of merit, like they're using it, so they're just trying to copy them. And rather than these, pro lifters being like, yeah, you know what, I'm using R.P.E, but you guys, it's probably not for you at your stage. They're like, and I don't know why, but they're like trying to encourage more and more people to use it, and I just couldn't be of like a total opposite way of thinking. So whether you are a younger lifter who does have aspirations of, powerlifting one day, or if you're just like, a general trainer, even an advanced trainer who likes strength training and enjoys going in the gym and getting stronger, don't just get fixated on R.P.E. It has a place, but that's it. You don't need to like your whole training be governed around it and just be like trying to analyze it every 2 seconds. Now I'm going to move on to the actual flaw of using R.P.E, and it's that word perceived. Now the way you perceive something isn't always reality. So sometimes you can do something at what's like an R.P.E 6, but it can actually, be pretty hard and, take quite a big toll on your body. And sometimes you can do something at an R.P.E 10, but you're actually able to recover relatively quickly from. And again, it just comes down to that just overcomplicating and overanalyzing rather than just, going off how you actually feel in the moment. And you know what, there will be a lot of times that it's accurate in the way that you think something's like a 7 or an 8 out of 10. That will, be right and that will be true. But there's going to be other times where it just isn't, and it just, again, comes back to just go and lift the fucking bar. So don't get obsessed with R.P.E and let it govern your training, because apart from anything else, it is actually pretty difficult to make that split decision when you're doing it, and then, trying to recall that feeling like right after you do it, like how did that actually feel? Like that's hard. Like I've been training a long time, and there's plenty of times where I think something was a lot easier and it turned out to be a lot harder, and vice versa. So again, you can be aware of it, you can try and tie it into your training, but don't be obsessed with it. And I'm going to give you an example of the flaws of R.P.E and actually applying it in real terms. So let's just take this 3-week progression on bench press. You're doing 60 kilos, 70 kilos and 80 kilos over 3 weeks, and it's to be at an R.P.E 6, 7 and 8. So you go to week 1 and you do the 60 kilos for R.P.E 6, that's all good. And then the next week you go up to the 70 kilos and you get all your reps, but instead of it being and feeling like an R.P.E 7, it's actually an R.P.E 8 or a 9. Then like what do you do? Because you've got all your numbers, so does that mean that you still go up the next week anyway? Like that's what I would think. But if you're doing it at an R.P.E 8 or a 9, what's the 80 kilos going to feel like? In theory, that's going to be like an R.P.E 9 or a 10, which is not what you want to achieve. So do you cut back? Do you go up? Do you stay the same? Or does it not matter and you just go up anyway? And if that's the case, then why actually use R.P.E in the first place? Like, again, I'm not saying that it doesn't work, but I'm just saying that it's just comes down to just overanalyzing rather than just lift the fucking bar. And it is a good tool to use for your periodization and working out your recovery, but again, most people, and in a lot of circumstances, again, it just like training should just be easy. You just go in the gym and try and lift a little bit more than you did last time. If you feel a little bit tired, just cut back and wait till the next again week and then try it again. And I've had clients that I've worked with who have used these complicated R.P.E systems, and I just instill this in them. Just go in the gym, keep it simple, work up, train it how you feel. And then every single time their feedback's like, this is just so much easier than the way I've trained before. I've just been overcomplicating this, and that's why I've just been going round in circles, not making any progress. So to basically summarize all of this, you can use R.P.E if you're at the level that you need to use it. And again, if you do use it at whatever level you're at, just try and not overcomplicate the process of actually just lifting the bar. So hopefully I've given myself a little bit of a kind of longer video to actually, you know, explain myself and explain my thinking, and obviously show the flaws in it rather than just a 90-second Instagram reel where you try to cram in a lot of information. So I'm absolutely sweating my balls off, so I'm not even going to do the usual outro stuff. I need to get back outside, try and top up the tan. Social media link is in the description, as is my coaching inquiry form. See you in the next video.